schedule with tonight's game. The Bruins and the Senators are at the end of the first period, and the Bruins have the 2-1 lead. Fred Knipscher is in his second year with the Bruins now, out of Fort Wayne, Indiana, Hoosier country, basketball country. He played his college hockey in Minnesota, though, at St. Cloud State, and finished at better than a point a game. Goal-scoring numbers went up each year. He was close to a point-a-game guy with Providence last year, and so far with the Bruins this year has 3 goals in 14 games. And by the way, yesterday was Knipscher's second anniversary as a member of the Bruins organization. He was signed as a free agent out of Minnesota's St. Cloud State on April the 30th of 1993. Right now with a 2-1 lead, he is standing by for a conversation with Dave Shea. David?
All right, Tommy, thank you. Freddie, although you've only been here for a few years, is there still a lot of nostalgia involved with Boston Garden for a young guy like yourself?
Yeah, I came here for the first time when I was 6 years old, and it was a long time ago. I came with my dad and my little brother, but you know, it's going to be sad to see the place go, but at the same time, it's, you know, it is the 90s and it's kind of old in here, and it'd be nice to be in a new rink.
You're a kind of guy that really is conducive to any building you're in. If it's a big rink, you skate well. If it's a smaller building like this one, you're capable of banging. Just how do you feel about the way you've been able to play in this building?
I've been really excited about it. I mean, to be able to play in here takes, I think, a talent and a dedication, because it is smaller and you're going to get hit a lot more. And I think the first thing everyone looks at when you're in here is if you can take the body and if you can, you know, be able to withstand the hitting and stuff like that. And I think I've done pretty well at that. And you know, it's a lot of fun to play out there because things happen so fast and the fans are right on top of you. And it's just an exciting game when you come to the Boston Garden. It's going to be fun.
Well, back in the 70s, even some teams in the 80s, visiting teams didn't want to have to come into Boston Garden. You dreaded coming into Boston Garden because you knew it was going to be a long and most times painful night. You guys went a long ways in reestablishing that kind of thinking with the way you played yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Pittsburgh, we've had a lot of trouble with them in the past couple of years, and I guess something like 12 in a row they beat us or something. But you know, it's nice to get that win, and just in case we play them in the playoffs. And you know, we came out last night and played really well, and you know, used the body real well and slowed their big guys down. And that's what you got to do in this building. You got to get in people's way, and you got to go to the net. And we did that, and we had some big goals by Marius and some of the other guys, and it was just a great win for our organization, for our team at this point.
Well, granted, you have to get rid of Ottawa and Montreal on the way, but the playoffs begin this weekend, and it will be New Jersey in all likelihood. How do you feel about matching up with the Devils again after last year?
I think we match up a little bit better this year. We're a little bit bigger than we were last year as a team, and we're a little bit stronger. We have you know, Blaine's just been playing outstanding goaltending for us, and same with Billington since we got him. And you know, I think we're just a better team this year than we were last year. And you know, if we can get that home ice with a win tonight, then that'll help a lot more too. You know, you go into the 6th, 7th games, you know, with those at home ice, it makes a big difference, and especially when you're here in the Boston Garden with it being the last year, it's going to pump up the adrenaline a little bit more. So it'll be real exciting, and I think we'll do well this year against them.
Of course, come playoff time, your stars aren't always the ones that make the difference in a team and how far they go. A lot of times it's players that you probably wouldn't think of in that role. Some of the younger guys that have yet to really make a niche for themselves, you could be in that position. Fred, how do you feel about making some noise?
Well, that's what you're here for. I mean, you're not here just to put the jersey on. You're here to go out and contribute. And you know, a lot of times in the playoffs, guys like 3rd and 4th line guys like myself are going to be the ones that decide a lot of it, because the first lines are going to be matched up against each other and they're going to play a tight game. And you know, last year I think was a good case of it, where our 4th line, Cam and I and Marius, went out in Game 7 against Montreal and had 2 goals for our line. And you know, that's what it's all about. I mean, we're here to contribute. We're not here just to go up and down the ice. And you know, that's what we get paid for, and that's what makes the game fun, is going out and scoring goals and helping your team win.
Yeah, I hope it happens again. Good luck to you.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
All right, Freddie. Freddie Knipscher here. Tommy?
All right, David, thank you. No team in hockey has more than 2 games left to play, and yet 3 of the 16 playoff spots are still not settled. One of those could be tonight in Buffalo, and we'll be back with highlights from that game and scores of the rest when Boston Bruins hockey continues here on NESN. Eastern Clothing in Watertown, announcing Palm Beach separates. Match your jacket size with your slack size for a perfect fit. Suit separates ensure a fit for all. At Eastern Clothing of Watertown, now open Sunday noon to 5 for your shopping convenience. Boston and Ottawa at Boston Garden at the end of the first period, and the Bruins have the lead by a score of 2-1. 25 times this year, the Senators have trailed at the end of the first period. Only once in those 25 games have they come back to win. Now, the Bruins flirted with maybe not making the playoffs there for a while this year, but now their spot in the postseason is secure, although home ice in round one is still not. There are several clubs still unsure whether they are in or out. For the most part, here are the teams that will be in the postseason. Still some jockeying around for home ice. The 8th spot is still available, but if the playoffs started today, Quebec would meet Buffalo in the first round. The Nords were a trendy early pick, and they've lived up to it. The Sabres have almost clinched a spot. Once again, they'll have to ride Dominik Hasek as far as he can take him. He was outstanding last year. The media circus matchup has the Flyers against the defending Cup champs, the Rangers, who did manage to find their way into the postseason. And they've made some moves, getting veteran center Pat Verbeek. They will need Captain Mark Messier to rally the troops, though, and he's having a problem with back spasms, which may not be as much of a worry as the Flyers have for Eric Lindros, who suffered an eye injury yesterday. He is considered day-to-day. Now, the Penguins appear ready. They will have home ice against the Caps. The Pens are led by Jaromir Jagr, who needs to do what Mario did a few years back. Interesting that they'll be up against Jim Carey, the goalie, whose arrival turned the Caps around and jetted them into the playoffs. Montreal still has a shot, but a lot of things have to happen just right. In the West, the picture's not as clear. One definite is the Red Wings. They'll end the season with the best record in the league. Red Wing fans have practically set a date for the Cup parade. But Sergei Fedorov and lads will need to be wary about the San Jose Sharks. As of now, they figure to be their first-round opponents. The second seed would be Calgary, and they would be facing Dallas and Andy Moog. Calgary is led by Joe Nieuwendyk and Theo Fleury, who have the experience of winning the Cup in '89. And then there's St. Louis and Vancouver, and Blues coach Mike Keenan knows a little about this playoff stuff. He also knows something about Pavel Bure and the Vancouver Canucks, having gone 7 games with them in the finals last year in his previous coaching life with New York. And then it's Chicago and Toronto. Blackhawks will be relying on Ed Belfour, the goaltender, but with the injury to Jeremy Roenick, they could be in line for an early exit. And if Felix Potvin gets hot, Toronto will be very tough to beat. The playoff picture not quite set, though, because Winnipeg, LA, and Edmonton all have an outside chance of sneaking in. Now, at the Odd in Buffalo tonight, big game for the Montreal Canadiens. Probably the one franchise that can be compared to the old Celtics of the Russell years or the various Yankee dynasties, Vince Lombardi and the Green Bay Packers, to earn a spot in the postseason, and they have been there every year since 1970. The Montreal Canadiens must win both of their last 2 games. And when we say that the Sabres and Canadiens are battling for the final playoff spot in the East, it's a literal interpretation. Early advantage, Buffalo, who can eliminate Canadiens with a win tonight. Richard Smellick, only first period goal. It is 1-0 Sabres at the end of 1. In the first period in Chicago, just underway, Winnipeg and the Blackhawks are scoreless. Toronto and Edmonton, a 9:30 start. The Oilers with 38 points are 1 point out of the playoffs. They have 2 games remaining. St. Louis is at Anaheim tonight. The Blues with the second-best record in the West, the 3rd seed in the playoffs. Dallas at San Jose. The Sharks with 39 points are number 7 in the West, or number 8 rather, with 2 games to play, while the Stars are 7th, and this is their last game. By the way, the only remaining game on the Montreal regular season schedule, which they would also have to win, is on Wednesday night at the Forum against the Bruins. Boston 2 and Ottawa 1. At the end of 1, that second period is coming up after this.